In last video we talked about filter. Let's quickly talk about the chaining of functions as well. So we can do is like whatever the like higher order functions are, we can combine them or chain them up and like get a new output from them as well. Okay, so how we can combine these functions is by just doing is like let's say we have filtered out the on the values which are like greater than 2, and then we can like directly add in reduce functionality to it. Like this we can add in reduce, and we want to reduce is its functionality. Let's say we want it to be added. Okay, so I want to declare a function over here, add 3. Okay, so we will pass in an number. Whatever the number is, it's gonna like return out with addition of 3 to it. Okay, so we will pass in whatever the value is, and second one. Okay, so we are the first argument is the callback function, and the second we want to like start from 0. Okay, so 0 plus 3 and so on. So if we see its output, we will, let's try to see its output. Okay, add is not defined, so this is add 3, my bad. Okay, so we got 6, so these value got added. So this is how we can combine or like chain the functions up. So this leads a new concept which is called function composition. Function composition is basically like combining all the higher order functions that return out arrays. Okay, higher order functions usually return arrays, and we can combine them up. So we saw that we filtered an array and then added reduce functionality to it. But let's say I just want to like combine the functions. A function composition is basically like combining the functions, chaining the functions to like add in like is basically the chaining of functions, and we can like chain the functions that do not return arrays as well. So with function composition we can combine functions that do not return arrays. So let's say I want to like combine functions that only return some values, like add 3, multiply by 3, divide by 5. Okay, so let's comment out this for now, and I want to like make 2 more functions, like function multiply by 2. Okay, and this would take in a num, and it would return out num multiply by 2. And I want to make another function which is called divide by 5, or divide by 5. So I will take in num and return out num divided by 5. Okay, so we got that, and let's try to move this up a little bit so you can see the working code. Okay, so and we made these functions, and so how can I combine these functions? We saw that we can combine these functions like which return out array, and then we can like filter them, and then we can reduce. So let's say I want to like combine these functions that return out only the values. So how can I combine? So one method would be like this, is we can do is const initial step, like take in is output, like whatever we perform on the first operation, we take that like globally, keep a record of that. Okay, we multiply by 2, we pass in let's say 11, and we're not dealing with now arrays because we're dealing with the values. And let's comment out this one as well. Okay, so we pass in 11, and we get its output in the initial step, and then next step we can do is next step. So we are keeping record of all the values in the like globally, and whatever is the output is initial step, we know that. So it would be like 22, and it's stored in initial step. And next step is like add 3. Okay, and we'll pass in the initial step, so which is gonna be like I think 22. Yeah, 22, which we just did, and 22 plus 3 is gonna be 25. And then we're gonna do is final step. I'm gonna declare, and its output is gonna be like passed in as into this divide by 5, and then we will pass in next step. So 22 plus 3 is gonna be 5, 22 plus 3 is gonna be 25, and 25 is passed in an argument to this, and we will evaluate this and store into final step. Okay, so we are keeping record of this into our global variable, so we can print out final value, and we can say that final step, and if we go to our console, final value is 5. Okay, 25 divided by 5 is gonna be 5. So this is one method of like doing the stuff of function composition, like chaining the functions which have the just return values, but it's not a very good way because user can like change the values or like add some values in between, so it will be messy. So we can do is one more thing. So I'm gonna like comment out this for now, and we can do is const result, whatever is output is. So we're gonna do is multiply by 2, and we will pass in 11. Okay, so whatever its output is, we will take that into add 3 and take it directly over here. So we can do that as well, like, so it would give us 22, and we are taking directly as an argument to this parameter which is num, and it would add in 3 to that, and we can take is output, which is like it's gonna be like 25, taken directly to divide by 5. Okay, like this. Okay, so now if we console log result, we got the same result, but it's unreadable and hard to debug, and like it's not a very readable way, and it's hard to debug like how it's working or evaluating the stuff. So what we can do is basically what we are doing in these situations is like taking up two things, like one argument, and then combining up the function and returning out a single value, and then joining them to another function returning out a single value. So this reminds us of a function which is called reduce. Okay, reduce does the same thing. Just combines the two things and returns out one thing. So we can achieve the same functionality with the reduce as well. So if you haven't watched my reduce video, please go and watch that first. Otherwise it might be like I will try to explain as much as I can. I will, but if you still can't, just go and watch my like video on reduce. Okay, let's go into this now. So I'm gonna create a function const reduce is equal to which would take in 3 parameters. One is going to be array, and the second is how to combine. So it's same stuff that I explained in my reduce video. It's just gonna be like how I like add the functions dynamically, just this stuff. And the third one is gonna be like building up, which is gonna be our act as like accumulator. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing is const okay, for I will like loop over them, like whatever the output comes in. Let's first pass in the like arguments to these parameters so we know what we are doing. Okay, so we will do is reduce, and we will pass in the array as okay, I will put into the next line. So the array this time is gonna be like first multiply by 2, then add 3, and then divide by 3. Okay, multiply by 2, and the second value is gonna be add 3 of array, and the third is gonna be divide by 5. Okay, and the second is gonna be how to combine, which I haven't like defined. Run, I'm gonna define that run function on input. Okay, so this is up. So in this function I'm gonna be like calling dynamically whenever I need, like if I need add 3, I'm gonna call it from here. So I will take in 2 arguments to hit input, and the second is gonna be the function. So at input, which function I'm gonna be calling, I'm gonna be returning. I will explain that in much detailed manner, just for like try to understand. If you can't, like don't worry, I will break down this code for you. Return fn in input. So whatever the input comes in, call the function which we want, which we haven't yet, and the second is gonna be run functions on input, and the third argument is gonna be building up. So we will start from 11, so it's gonna be acting like start from 11. So we are gonna be looping over array, and I is less than array dot length, then I plus plus. Here we go. Okay, so this is gonna be arrow over here. Now it's fine. So we will start from accumulator, like building up, and what we will do is, so we are gonna be calling how to combine function. Like how to combine is like we pass a second argument, which is gonna be like run functions on input, which is this. Okay, how to combine, and inside that I'm gonna like pass in two values, which is like first is gonna be the value. We will start from 11. Okay, building up is gonna be 11, and the second is gonna be whatever the function I want. Okay, so at first I want to like call this multiply by 2, then add 3, and then divide by 5. So they are in arrays, so we can do is like pass in the whatever the array index is, if that makes sense. And after that a loop ends, we're gonna be returning out building up. So let's try to like first take that into some variable and try to print its output, and then I will go over it in a detailed manner in my browser and see is working. Console log result, and if I go over here, we got 5. Here we go. Result is 5. We got that. Okay, so enough talking. Let's try to break down this code, and I want to add this to watch expressions as well. So I'm gonna like reload it. Okay, so we are at line number 106. So we have defined these functions, and now we are in reduce. It's now undefined for now. We are like stopped at this point for now, and we are gonna be like playing. So this is over here, reduce is now undefined. We are assigning parameters to it, like array, how to combine, and building up. Okay, so this went straight to it. So we are getting its parameter values from here. This one, multiply by 2, add 3, and divide by 4. Okay, so we get its value from here, where we call it. Okay, and we are assigning that values and run functions on it. On input is gonna be like assigned to the second parameter as an argument to reduce, and the building up like it's gonna be 11. Okay, as you can see, if I like try to make it larger for you, okay, you can see building up is assigned 11. Okay, that is just I wanted to show. Building up is 11, and building up is 11 over here and we can see that over here as well. So now we assign the values. Now we are here, we are looping over array. Okay, we are looping over array, and building up is now 11. You can see building up is now 11, and this line is just about to evaluate and is about to call how to combine. And you can see how to combine is assigned to what? Run functions on input. This function over here, and it's taking means two parameters like input and function. Okay, and if I like play this, building up is 11, and array of I, at array of I is gonna be multiply by 2. At you can see array 3 values, at array of I 0 is gonna be multiply by 2, and we are gonna resume it. We are directly over here. So input is fn11, and the function that at the first index is multiply by 2, which is multiply by 2. We got it, and then we got its values, and after that we are returning function with an input. So we are calling another function with the input, like this is whatever function we got multiply by 2, and we are passing the value of building up, that is 11. This input is like first in the like parameter run function on input, but I'm changing that in like inside the party. Just don't be confused with that. Like it's gonna be, because I want to call the another function which is gonna be multiply by 2, and then it's gonna be go over here. Okay, so instead of like breakpoint, I'm gonna like step in, because if I, otherwise it won't go there. Okay, because I didn't add a breakpoint to this, so I would add click on step in. So now it would go to like that, multiply by 2 and pass in 11 to that. So this is 11 and this is multiply by 2, and we are calling fn, which is multiply by 2 and it's 11. I know I'm repeating too much the same thing, but yeah, you have to understand it. So we got it 11 into it, and it's gonna be returned as 22. So num is, it's about to execute, and num is 11. Okay, yeah, num is 11 and it's about to execute with the multiplication of 2, and you can see, here we go. Now it's gonna be like 22. Building up should now be 22, and yeah, here you can see building up is now 22. Now we are looping over it again. So now this time I'm gonna like go a little bit faster. So we're gonna again add I is equal to 1, and so this time I is equal to 1, building up is 22, and this time it's gonna be 22, and array is gonna be I. So I is add I 1 is gonna be add 3, and building up is now 22, and we are calling add run function on input. We will go to this. Okay, so now it's gonna be, the function is add 3, and this time we will call the add 3 function. We'll go over here and add, and go inside of this and add 3 to it. So 22 plus 3, and it's gonna be 25, and this is gonna be returned out. And this time when I click on it, building up should now be 25. Yeah, it's 25 now, and this will loop over again, and this time it's gonna be doing for divide by 5. And you can like play it around with the dev tools over here. These are very useful. And now I'm gonna go faster without even explaining. Now divide by 5 is now gonna be 25 divided by 5 is gonna be like 5 only. So building up is now 5. Loop is completed. We had 3 values in the array. Okay, so divide by 5 is executed, and then we will go to returning is building up value, and building up is 5 at the end, and we are logging that result to console. That is it for this video. I hope you got to understand what function composition, how we combine or change these functions up in a very like readable manner. And in next video I'm going to talk about purity of functions.